Am I the a-hole for calling my daughter fat? The past 2 years, I, 57 male, noticed a number of worrying changes in my daughter, 23 female. She has gained about 150 pounds and has completely changed as a person. I've tried to phrase things as, is everything okay? You don't seem to be like yourself. If you need help with something, I'll do my best. Maybe we can speak to a therapist and get an appointment for you. She will become hostile and accuse me for not caring about her at all and criticizing me when I'm not. I've always told her she can tell me anything because I'll always love her. I've tried to cook her healthy meals and give them to her at her apartment, but she rejected it and threw all food on the floor. It really hurt my feelings, but I didn't say anything. I just had to step out into the hall and cry. 2 days ago, I brought up her weight gain. I said, I am really worried about you. You've changed completely as a person and I really want to help. Maybe we can go to a therapist and dietitian. You've gained so much weight and I'm really concerned for your health. I know something is wrong. I can tell you're struggling with something. I love you and I think we need to deal with this. She started screaming at me and then stormed off. After she started sending me all these blog posts and articles about being fat does not mean you're unhealthy. I told her that any bodily extreme is unhealthy. Someone who is emaciated is unhealthy. Someone who takes steroids to have a massive number of muscles is unhealthy. I sent her a few actual medical studies and that showed this and said, it isn't just the weight I'm concerned about. I know something is wrong. Please just let me help you. She posted something about our conversation online along with my phone number. I keep getting calls and texts calling me abusive from people I don't even know. I called her and that's when she told me about the post and said, I'm done with your gaslighting and you're telling me I need to speak to a therapist and that I'm not healthy. You are a terrible father. I hate you. I hate everything about you. You are a failure as a man and as a dad. She went on for a long time with things like that. I just kind of sat through her yelling at me. I was so hurt and I didn't even know what to say. I said, I love you and I always love you. And she told me that she never loved me and that she doesn't want to speak to me again. This is where I lost my cool a bit. I should have only showed compassion and understanding because I know this has something to do with mental illness. I said, I'm sorry. I'm doing my best. You don't need to be hurtful. You don't need to act like a fat jerk. You can't say you're fine when you have a hard time even walking. She hung up on me and I keep getting all these calls and texts from strangers telling me I'm terrible. I'm just very upset that I don't know what to do or how to help. I feel like I've failed as a father because my daughter now openly hates me.
Yeah, I was there too. Opened this post feeling incensed. Ended worried about daughter and NTA. 150 pounds is extreme weight gain. Whatever info daughter has found on weight and health, that much excess is terribly unhealthy. Don't think daughter is being in a hole either, more that she is going through some struggle she is unable to talk about with her dad and is choosing the path of dumping him out of her life. Dad, it's obvious you care deeply about your daughter's health and well-being, but she's not in a place to accept your help now, so you need to back off and let her make her own adult decisions. Stop engaging with her on this subject. Don't participate in the public piece of the spat, and definitely don't clap back at your hateful texters and callers except to say that you love your daughter unconditionally. Tell her that too, that you love her unconditionally, and if she ever wants to talk you're there for her, and you won't mention her weight or mental health again, unless she specifically invites the discussion. Actually, kind parents like that would stop poking the sore spot and focus on the mental issues that are obviously involved here. They would try to get their kid mental health as the primary focus. Well, this dude wants to treat the fat as the primary focus. But that's what he did. This is how he was originally trying to approach it. I've tried to phrase things as, is everything okay? You don't seem to be like yourself. If you need help with something I will do my best. Maybe we can speak to a therapist and get an appointment for you. He did not mention her weight at first of all. He tired to talk about your mental health. She just wasn't interested. Don't seem like yourself is generally meant to be about someone's behavior, not looks. And at the beginning of the post Op said his daughter had concerning changes, plural, the weight gain having completely changed as a person. In other words, she's acting differently, and that's the first thing Op tried to bring up. Eventually, when trying multiple times on the mental health angle didn't work, and Op didn't know what was going on, Op brought her some healthy home-cooked meals. Op still didn't comment on her weight at this point, though sure Op probably did it because they are concerned about their health. But her health genuinely is concerning, and they tried to do it through a gift most people would appreciate, home-cooked meals from a parent. When she threw them away, Op says he didn't say anything and just cried once he had left. AITA. Here's what I read. You noticed your adult daughter having trouble. That's a huge weight gain, it's obvious something isn't right. You asked about it in a loving way and she told you, in no uncertain terms, to back off. She clearly doesn't want to talk about it with you. But did you back off? No. And I can understand that, you're her parent, you want to help. Now she's told you several times to butt out, stop asking, stop cooking, drop it. At this point you should have done that. Instead, you doubled down and when she predictably lashed out, you called her fat. With that one word you told her that's all you care about, whether that's what you meant or not. In her mind, you immediately justified all of the terrible things she said to you. I suspect there's more to this story and history that you're leaving out that paints you in a less than rosy light, as we all do. But here's the thing, dude, parent or not, you can't help someone who doesn't want your help. You can't help someone who isn't emotionally ready or capable of accepting your help. And that doesn't mean nobody can help, it means you can't help right now. As a parent, I know that's a difficult thing to accept. I imagine it's more difficult as a father, but if you want to have a decent relationship, you have to respect boundaries. If you don't, it's likely she'll cut you off altogether. The only option I can see here is for her dad to go North Carolina with her and hope she eventually reaches out for help. Something bad happened to cause the massive changes in personality and subsequent weight gain. I would be inclined to suspect a sexual assault with the weight gain being a way to protect herself from being seen as a test to others. It is a response others in that situation have used. She clearly needs therapy, but until she is willing to accept the need, there is absolutely nothing anyone else can do. Unfortunately, she has also gone down the rabbit hole of the extreme end of the fat positivity movement, which is as dangerous as the pro-anorexia movement, and will be getting echo chamber support from some very disturbed people. Doxing her dad was appalling. It's a great pity that it is not yet illegal, given the damage that level of bullying can cause to the victim. All in all, it's a tragic situation for both Op and his daughter, and hard as it is, he just has to stand back and hope to hell she eventually realizes she needs professional help to work through whatever experience set her on this self-destructive path. Don't think daughter is being in a hole either, more that she is going through some struggles she is unable to talk about with her dad and is choosing the path of dumping him out of her life. I'm sorry, but no, daughter is being an asshole. Even if you are somehow willing to overlook her throwing out the home-cooked meals he brought her in front of him, screaming at him, telling him he's a failure as a father and a man, and the false claims of gaslighting. No, gaslighting is not whenever someone says something you didn't like. That's not all of it. She made a post online about Op with his phone number to get strangers to call and harass him. And that post is a lie. She is claiming he is abusive and misrepresenting things along with doxing him so that he will be harassed by strangers. How on earth is she not an asshole? Sure, maybe she has emotional problems we don't know about that explain why she's an asshole, but that's always possible with any asshole. Usually there is some internal reason that people are awful to other people. That's not unique to her, and it's not a free pass to excuse her behavior either. She went way over the line and is being not just a bad daughter, but a bad person at this point. Bingo. The problem is that the way Op has described the situation is probably because this is exactly the way he sees it. How do I know? Because he sounds exactly like my dad. Overweight kid, lovingly told by my father that I'd be pretty if I lost weight, erratic behavior, because I started yelling back when he'd get in my face screaming at me as a way to relieve his stress, unable to leave the house for months, crippling depression and anxiety, because I lived with a verbally and emotionally abusive and controlling father and a manipulative and emotionally disconnected mother. I was super morbidly obese by the end of unit, and the only reason I got any better was I moved overseas for a job and got away from his controlling behavior. Sounds like his daughter is trying to do the same, but unfortunately hasn't moved far enough away to stop it. Sounds like a horrible dad, right? Except he did a lot to try to help me, supporting me through dieting and weight loss programs, encouraging me to see a therapist, doing anything for me if I asked. And that was the problem. He wanted to be the best dad and do everything for me, and so I never learned I could do anything for myself, so by the time I was an adult I was crippled. I've talked to him about aspects of this over the years. I'm 43, so there's been a lot of them, and it kills him to hear how much his actions have hurt me, although he's still a dick about stuff. I love my dad, but his behavior is the completely wrong way to go about what he was trying to achieve. He can't see it though. I was on board with not the A, but yeah, I think you're onto something here, and I can't believe I didn't see it. I smoke cigarettes, and I absolutely know they're horrible. I've tried and failed to quit so many times I have no idea how you'd count them all. I will try again, but I just haven't got there yet. There was a time when almost every time I spoke to my mom the conversation would turn to how much she wanted me to quit, how much she couldn't bear to lose me to cancer. Finally I just had to tell her I know, I get it, and nobody feels worse about it than me. I feel like shit every day because I haven't been able to quit. I don't need you telling me every time we talk. It just gets to a point where you just have to get through it yourself, and all the loving comments in the world aren't going to change when you get there. If anything, it makes it worse. It's love being used to manipulate behavior, and even if it's designed for a positive outcome, it can be a rocky road. Edit. A word. I have to say my one concern is reliable narration here. My mother sounds like this to anyone who will listen. Oh, I'm so wounded, my child called me abusive, even though I've done nothing wrong. I was only ever concerned for her health, while threatening me with homelessness if I took one non-approved cheat day, even after I had gotten back down to 172 at 5'5", as a person who bulks up easy and forces me onto fad diets, one of which made me sick and wrecked my good health long term. This not even counting the extreme control over my diet and constant comments about no man will find a bigger girl attractive, and those clothes are not flattering on your figure, etc. ad nauseum. I genuinely think this is personal trauma biasing me towards it, especially given my mother was right to be concerned about my health, even if her execution was nothing short of incredibly damaging emotionally and physically. I would appreciate though if anyone has the time explaining to me the context clues that show that the two situations are different and Op is very much being gentle and caring, because I feel in a weird secondhand kind of way almost too close to the situation to parse it out. As for Op's daughter, I'd worry about the possibility of a personality disorder in all honesty, especially if he really is being gentle, and she wasn't always like this about this kind of stuff. That are possibly an eating disorder such as binge eating disorder, bulimia without purging, often resulting in large amounts of weight gain, or similar.